So it turns out that 505 Games, publisher of the critically acclaimed Control, might just be a big bloody liar. I don't know if you remember, but Control is getting an Ultimate Edition of the game, which is the only way you can get an upgraded next-gen version of the game. If you already own a copy of Control, if you bought it when it came out, less than a bloody year ago, sorry, you're gonna have to buy it again, stumping up the cash for the Control Ultimate Edition if you want to play it on the Xbox Series X/S or PlayStation 5. At first glance, the whole situation looks like a cynical double dip, a way to get people who've already bought the game to buy it again so they can keep playing it on next-gen systems. However, 505 Games said that wasn't the case, and I'm sure we all absolutely bloody believed them. You see, 505 Games said it was impossible for owners of the current version of Control to simply upgrade to the Ultimate Edition. Only it turns out, it looks like you could, and they did for a minute, and then stopped because they were caught lying. Like liars. So yeah, the thing 505 Games said was impossible when they said you couldn't simply upgrade from Control to Control Ultimate Edition turned out to actually be quite possible. Which makes sense considering the original excuse already sounded like complete and total bollocks. So yeah, 505's bullshit was rumbled when people noticed that on the PlayStation Store they had the option to download the Ultimate Edition of Control instead of buy it. This is what 505 Games said was impossible. You can't just let people download the Ultimate Edition even if they already own the first version of the game. They've got to buy it again. Except of course when mistakes are made and it's revealed that yeah, it's quite easy to download a new version of an existing game. You just got to add a download button. And unfortunately it was a mistake, apparently. In what's become fairly common, we've seen this happen on Twitch, and we've seen this happen with some, I remember Anthem did something similar, where a quote-unquote mistake happens that's very beneficial for end users, or like on Twitch, existing subscribers were able to take advantage of September, the discount offer. And I remember on Anthem, when there was a bug that made loot more rewarding and people were enjoying it. And both those instances were patched and fixed, and it's the same with the Control situation. This, as I said, seems to be a common thing. You get these moves that are really good for the customer, but because they weren't planned, the company, the publisher, then has to go out of its way to make the game or the platform worse for the users, because making it better was a mistake. And ain't that just the AAA video game industry in a nutshell? Making it better was a mistake. This didn't happen in every region, but people assumed that because they already owned Control, they were given the option to download as a reasonably assumed freebie, because that's what other companies have been doing, and Control Ultimate Edition, as I've pointed out, was released less than a bloody year after the first version. I think if you haven't been following the news, you might find it quite reasonable that the game you bought, less than a year ago, let's not forget, was becoming more ultimate as a courtesy. But such a person making such an assumption would have to forget, unfortunately, that the video game industry doesn't work that way. But yeah, the people who saw the option to download it were people who owned the deluxe edition of Control. Others who had the base game and the season pass saw the download option too. The download option that 505 Games said was impossible to offer for this game to existing owners, because 505 Games was chatting shit. Not everyone saw it apparently, but certainly enough for it to become a kerfuffle on social media, with many people seizing on the opportunity to point out that the thing 505 Games said couldn't be done was done quite easily. In fact, so easily, it was done by accident. Back during the original controversy about the Control Ultimate Edition, 505 Games had this to say. "We spent several months exploring all our launch options for Control Ultimate Edition, and no decision was taken lightly. Every avenue we pursued, there was some form of blocker, and those blockers meant that at least one group of players ended up being left out of the upgrade for various reasons. As of today, we can't offer an upgrade to everyone, and leaving any one group out feels unfair. We understand that this is not what you want to hear." And it's not what we got to see this week. You lying cads. CADs. Who gets called a CAD these days? You do. I'd go so far as to argue we don't even need the proof 505 Games was chatting shit to know 505 Games was chatting shit. What kind of excuse was that? Oh, we can't do it because blockers. There's blockers. I've seen games get upgraded without issue. We've already seen announcements for current gen games getting free. They're doing it with The Witcher. If The Witcher 3 can get a next gen upgrade for current owners for fuck all, then Control of all games should be able to bloody manage it. I know one thing's for damn sure, and it's The Witcher 3 didn't come out less than a bloody year ago. The excuse is so weak, and goes nowhere near explaining or justifying why a new version of the game is available that current existing owners can't access less than a year after they bought the fucking game. Which to me was the even more galling aspect than the lack of next gen upgrade, although let's face it, the two are connected. It's getting very, very hard for 505 Games to deny that it pulled an Ultimate Edition out of its arse because it didn't want to offer free next gen upgrades for the existing version of the game. The whole thing reeks of typical AAA rules lawyering and the use of exact words to avoid having to tell the real truth. And in that regard, it is technically true that you can't just upgrade Control to next-gen systems. You can't just take the existing version of the game, the launch version of the game, and upgrade it. That's true. Technically, that is true. But it's also true that that's only the way it is because 505 Games decided that's the way it is. They made a decision in an industry where other companies were making very clear different decisions, seemingly without contesting the limits of possibility like 505 Games claims. The sheer bollocks spewing out of 505 Games' mouth was self-evidently bollocks even before we got evidence. I mean, when a video game publisher tells you they're powerless to do something with their own game, I mean, who actually believes that? Who believes them when they say it is they're unfortunately unable to offer an upgrade path to all existing Control players? That's all they said about that, by the way, when asked, why? Why do we have to buy the Ultimate Edition? Their reasoning was, oh, you just can't do that. We can't make that happen. Yeah, you can. It's your game. I've seen wilder shit than that simply updated in a game because the publisher willed it. You fucking Right, this is a result of video game companies acting as stupid as they wish we were. And they're getting more bold-faced about it because there is still a contingent of the gamers TM who will swallow everything hook, line and sinker without contest, without challenge. And as we've learned in recent weeks, there are also plenty of publications that will allow that bollocks to be broadcast uncritically. So years of companies being defended for doing horrible things, or for doing horrible things and getting called out on it for like a week and then everybody forgetting about it. Years of that is leading to an industry that's starting to get really, really sloppy about its lies and deceptions. They don't even try to hide that they're talking shite anymore. And they don't have to, because they will still sell plenty of Control Ultimate Edition. People will forget about it when Remedy or 505 Games has some other exciting, hype-laden new game to show. These controversies only last until the next product is on the horizon. I've learned that. The amount of people that tell me to shut up when I dare to continue covering an ongoing story. Heaven forbid we get reminders of gross unethical behaviour when we just want to play video games. And so it is that 505 Games feels emboldened to talk to you like you're an idiot. And why this isn't the first time won't be the last time we've been told something that's impossible is actually quite possible. It's just that a corporation didn't want to do something. So anyway, 505 Games, bullshitters.